Well, thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks for reaching out. My name is Michael. Very stoked to have you guys on.
Yeah, we're thrilled to be on. I've been listening for a while, so this is fun.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, it's nice to kind of. It's always fun when I hit those like pockets of different cities that like can like keep going, kind of like a domino effect.
Yeah.
And it's been a nice touch to kind of get reacquainted with Chicago lately
Yeah, because I
from
saw
these recent episodes.
I saw Grief Eater go on, and then Hell of a Life is a band we enjoy quite a lot as well. That you guys just put out that episode, so it's been cool
Yep.
seeing other people pop up from that kind of heavier scene.
Yeah. Grief Eater, great dude. All those dudes are super sick. Obviously, Football Heads episode comes out at the end of the month
Oh,
as well.
that's awesome.
So that'll be really fun. And then it's I think wearing the Death Pose shirt from Chicago as well.
Nice.
Just Chicago kills it, and I know we'll talk about the scene probably a little bit as well during the episode. But there's a lot of good stuff that comes out of there that I think some people might forget about.
Absolutely.
Do you guys have any questions before we get started?
No, I think I'm ready to go. Yeah.
Hell yeah. Well, my infamous question before we get started is I think I see the top of a bottle right there in screen, but do you guys have any unopened beverages that you'd like to participate in the opening crack with?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Of course.
Sick.
Should we do a countdown of sorts?
Yeah, so what I'll do is I'll count us down. We'll crack these. I'll do the little intro, bring the three of you in, and we'll just have a good time.
Perfect.
Sounds good.
All right.
Ready? In three, two, one. Welcome to the Beers with Bands podcast with your host, Michael Torres. What is up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Beers with Bands. Very stoked on this episode. You know, the domino effect keeps domino affecting, and I have another Chicago band on the show this week. I'm sitting down with And I You. How are you guys doing?
Great. How are
Doing
you?
great.
You know, I'm doing good. It's Monday. We just had the crazy snowstorm go through. I'm sure you guys got affected as well.
Yeah.
How was it on your end? Because I think I've seen different reports, but I'm pretty sure we had at least like a foot of snow drop between Saturday to Sunday.
You're in Minnesota, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we did not get quite that bad. I had to scrape the car out this morning, but
Like a couple inches,
Yeah.
but we got to see it go from like pouring rain to slowly freezing into snow.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, it was wild. I think this is the first time in a while that I've seen it snow for almost 24 hours straight. It was wild. It was just insane.
this winter's been brutal.
Yeah. But, hopefully that was the last of it, and we're, getting into actual spring here. And with spring comes a new record that we'll talk about and we'll jump into, segues. That's all that I do around here.
Fantastic.
But for people that are unaware of you guys are an alternative shoegaze band based out of Chicago, like I said. Can you guys kind of go around and say who you are and what you do in And IU?
Sure, I'm Trevor, and right now I play guitar, bass, and do some backing vocals.
I'm Ben. I do guitar, little bit of bass, and lead vocal.
I'm Jacob, and I'm the only one who just plays one instrument. I'm the drummer.
And sadly, our fourth member, Sean, is not able to make it tonight, but he also plays guitar and bass.
Okay. Well, real quick, this is where we'll give a little shout out to Sean, even though he can't be here with us today. This is where we pour one out in their honor. By pour one out, I just mean we have a drink in their honor since we don't waste alcohol on this podcast. Here's a Sean.
Respect for Sean.
For Sean.
So I think before I get even into my first question, since three of you are playing guitar and bass, are you guys just like trading off all willy nilly like during a set, or what's going on?
Yeah, we're trading off a lot. It's a big part of our rehearsals are figuring out how to build the set to waste the least amount of time trading off.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's just bouncing around on stage, but the least amount as we possibly can.
Fair.
Pretty efficient.
I think this is the first band I've talked to where there's three members that are switching off in that aspect. Like I hear sometimes, obviously with like more of a three piece, sometimes they'll be bouncing off between guitars and bass, or who's going to do leads and who's going to do the rhythms. But I think it's kind of wild to have wild in a good way, not anything negative, obviously, but to have that many members switching around. Is there like what's the like? Is it more who is ever bringing like a certain song to the table kind of gets to play what a certain part, or like how do you guys decide on that?
Precisely. Yeah. So originally we all kind of had our regimented parts. Trevor was on guitar, Sean was on bass, I was on rhythm guitar. But then Sean started writing some riffs on guitar that he felt more comfortable with in his hands, and it made more sense for Trevor to go over bass. And then I wrote some songs where it was a little too difficult for me to play some of the guitar parts and sing, so it made more sense for me to go over on bass. So we really just do whatever suits the song the best, and suits the performance the best.
Okay. Now I'm very interested to like now I want to see this like live. I know you guys have like an upcoming run that we'll talk about, but like for people that are gonna go see it now, this is the best chance I think and best opportunity to see it because like you get to probably experience a different versions of the band throughout the set, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, it's fun because we each like have our own like playing style and voice, and it's cool to see how that comes through on different instruments. Or like at some point, I'm playing Ben's guitar, and just how that all lines up.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how this translates to our DIY tour in the tiny spaces and having to climb over one another. So we'll see how that goes.
I will say though, it does sound like one cohesive kind of band. Still, like there's still an identity. Does it like when Sean goes to play guitar, Ben goes to play bass. Like it still feels like And IU, which is really cool.
Oh, that's a good point because like that'd be wild if it literally sounded like four different or three different versions of like different bands almost in one set, and just people are like super confused.
Yeah, I think the benefit of that is that for the most part, at least one of the core three is on guitar. So it's really just who's doing the lead and the rhythm, and then that kind of character is what is most present, but everyone's still in the mix. And the writing is so democratic. It's very like we'll bring the core idea and we'll workshop it until it's kind of one thing, which is, part of we've been playing these songs for like a year and a half now, some of them, just getting them into the spot where we feel like it works as one EP as well as individual songs.
Yeah, so like kind of take me back a little bit too, because obviously these songs have been in your repertoire for a while. I know there's 3 singles that are currently out on streaming. That came out like I think Swimming came out March 2025. So I think we're just hit a year of Swimming almost, which is kind of congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah. So like, how did the 4 of you kind of come together to become And IU?
Yeah. So myself, Trevor, and Sean actually went to high school together. We were in a band in high school that did, kind of blues rock, like Queens of the Stone Age, Highly Suspect kind of stuff. We all went our different paths in college, came back to Chicago. I was working on writing some stuff, brought it over to Trevor. And we got acquainted with some other musicians. Through those musicians, we met Jacob when we were in need of a drummer. And then Sean finally made his way back to Chicago, and it kind of has been that way for about 2 years now as a set lineup.
It's been a pretty fun journey because I started as the drummer of the band when it was just me and Ben. And then as we needed a keys player, I moved to keys. And then as we needed a guitar player, I moved to guitar. So now I think I've done everything now that I'm singing.
Just flexing on everybody. That's fine. That's
Again,
fine.
I play one.
Mr. Music Degree over here.
Well, we'll try not to get too much in Trevor's head and hype him up too much, but
You gotta bring me down. Gotta bring me down before.
Don't worry, we do it every day.
But like I mentioned, Swimming's been out for a year. I know the second singles, Brutalism and Houseplants, came out in about July of last year, which for people listening, definitely go check those out. Because those are still solid in their own respect, but it's cool because like leading up to obviously Red 40 comes out at the time of this recording, it'll come out in about 2-3 weeks. But like it's cool to kind of see the difference in it, even though you're saying like these songs have been in like the back pocket for almost the same amount of time.
Yeah. Well, Swimming, I mean, those 3 songs are actually probably almost 3 or 4 years old. I was writing a lot of those coming out of COVID, kind of as a reaction to all that, wanting to get back into playing music because the high school band had disbanded and I was trying to find an outlet. So those 3 are a little more driven by me whereas the new EP is very much all of our own voices and a step towards kind of what we're trying to take the band in, of that kind of like shoegaze adjacent, mixing a little more of all of our interests into it. So it's been really exciting to see. And again, like, because these are all brought with the core ideas by different members of the band, seeing how those different things play out when we bring them all together.
No, I mean it's cool to see that, because like obviously everything's like a chapter in a band's life. So seeing going from swimming lessons, brutalism, houseplants into like this, we could almost call that like the prelude, the epilogue or whatever. And then, you know, Red 40 being the first official chapter, since you guys are all cohesive in this. But it's just always fun to kind of see that journey and like just see how things come together, especially when you have everyone kind of doing their own thing. Now, like again, I'm in the back of my mind, I'm like, damn, who's playing what on each song, which we can get into. But like, like Red 40 is super sick in its own right. I'm trying to think of which way I want to go with this question, because there's a lot that I could go with. But yes, we'll start off with Red 40 debut EP. Solid. I think this is going to be a great full chapter window into And IU for you guys.
Thank you. I mean, that's an absolute soundbite that I'm gonna steal, because that's how it feels. Where it's like those first singles, we were kind of putting them together. We were like, we need to get some music out. Let's get some music out. These are the songs we like. And this is like, we sat down. We're like, this is the EP. We're gonna record that this way, do it the way we want it, and put it out with like a specific kind of marketing push and things like that. So it definitely feels like the first real chapter of at least released music.
And then obviously, when we talk about this transition with you guys coming together with your influences, do you feel like, just because I'm coming into this, obviously we talked about, you know, Hell of a Life and Grief Eater being on the show, do you find like some of these influences too are kind of being shaped by the city you guys are in, with this like amazing shoegaze kind of scene that you guys have going on?
No question about that. It's definitely really inspiring to go out and see bands that are like our age or younger, have been doing this for so long, and just to be floored by them and to be like, okay, we got to keep working. So that's been really fun. It's definitely shaped, I'd say, by the local scene.
Yeah, just being able to go to any show. I mean, even the shows that we've played, we rarely get the opportunity to play with the same bands twice at different shows, and just trying to make all these different connections and do all of that is both a fun challenge and so exciting to keep seeing new things, especially just coming out of, you know, again, places of people that we know, and just seeing the incredible things that they make. But yeah, being in this scene, you know, we're basically in the same neighborhood as like Empty Bottle and all of those incredible venues that just always have bands that you've never heard of that are better than most things that you can see for $120 at the Aragon or something like that. So it's really amazing. I mean, we were just at a local show last weekend for some friends of ours that we played a show with, Dondry, and every band on that bill. This House is Creaking, who we get to play with for our EP release, Dondry, who we've gotten to play with a couple times, Smush, who's actually from Brooklyn, and Double Extra Large was the opener for that band, and it was just an incredible bill.
And I think that's one thing, and I brought it up. I can't remember their name, and it's gonna bother me. But another shoegaze band from Chicago was on the show, and I think I brought it up in that episode too, where it's crazy with Chicago, because shoegaze is not the first thing I think of when I think about like the music scene in Chicago. Most of us, I think, are probably, when we think of Chicago, we think of pop punk, you know, some punk rock, and then, you know, I feel like not as much pop artists, but like Fall Out Boy, obviously they're kind of teetered depending on which record you listen to, but that aspect. So to kind of find like this other niche that's kind of popping off is really sick.
Yeah, I mean, I think Sean really brought a lot of that to us. He's really into that, and that's why I say shoegaze adjacent, because he brings that quality to us. I don't think we're fully in that scene necessarily, because I definitely gravitate more towards like the hard rock, a little bit of that hardcore adjacent stuff. I know that we listen to a lot of like indie rock here, which is hugely prevalent in the Chicago scene as well. But yeah, there is just about shoegaze every night of the week as well in Chicago for sure.
Well, that's awesome. Like Chicago in itself is always killing it with the music scene. I know it's another one of those great music towns, and it's just great to see it still thriving as much as it can be. And then obviously, like you said, there's different. You're playing all these different bills with not always the same lineup, which is crazy that you can say that, because like that just goes to show like how much talent is in Chicago and like the Chicagoland area. It's pretty sick.
Yeah, I mean, we're so lucky for that because we're looking at this tour where we're doing some smaller college towns, and it is interesting, like where they're playing with very similar bands all the time, and that's not to say that those towns aren't talented at all. We're really excited to get to play with those bands, but just the wealth and amount of bands that we have access to, just being in Chicago, is really something we're grateful for.
And it's nice to see too for like how big the scene is. Everyone is extremely kind and extremely helpful. We've like gone out and met people at shows and they give us very good advice for just like how to move forward or next steps for certain things. It's very collaborative and communal, which is just feels really nice, as like it's hard enough to, write the songs and record them and put them out and put this all together. It's good to know that like there's a community that you can fall back on.
Yeah, I think that's the one benefit from COVID, if there is any benefit from COVID, is that it kind of like weeded out a lot of the people that weren't really like in the scene for almost like the right reasons. Because that's all I've heard since then is just like, oh, the community is super strong in the scenes now, where like people like build each other up rather than being like, well, we should be playing this show instead of so and so, and like kind of just trying to one up each other, not in like a camaraderie way, but just like we're better than each other. So it's really nice to kind of have at least that benefit from COVID, despite everything else.
Yeah, I think people are really protective of the scene in a positive way, of like keeping the culture of it strong and making sure that it doesn't get into that level.
Yeah. We'll jump back into some of these dates coming up, because I know you guys are actually playing Iowa City with some of my homies.
Oh, nice!
A good time. But we're here to talk about Red 40. Solid set of songs. Right now, I think listening through, I think The View and They've Got Your Gun are probably my top two songs. Awesome. Like super solid. And I think The View, you guys are dropping that here pretty soon, I think.
We're doing a little radio premiere of it tomorrow with one of the local radio stations. We're not like physically releasing any of the songs because we wanted like once it's available for it to be available in full, but we're doing little previews here and there, because want to take advantage of that, take advantage of the people offering opportunities and things like that, and want to build those connections.
Well, that's cool that you guys get to do like a little radio preview, because I don't feel like a lot of bands get that chance to do it. And I feel like that's like everyone wants to be on the radio in some aspect, so I think that's like a nice little band goal that you guys get to accomplish on that one.
Yeah, we're very excited about it. It's super cool. They play local music multiple times a week. They do a full half-hour radio show weekly. Another testament to just how much music there is in Chicago, that they have access to that, and that we get to be a part of it. It's really great.
Yeah. Now with nothing fully being out yet, and people having to kind of wait until the 10th to fully check this out. I know this episode I'm still working on timing, so they might have heard a lot of these songs before, or this episode might come out before the drop. We'll talk about that later. But let's say they haven't checked out this EP yet. What is like the one song I would say that you're like most excited or anticipating them to like kind of find and fall in love with the most?
Ooh, that's tough.
What do you think, Jacob?
That's tough. I think They've Got Your Gun. Because that's just something that's so unique, and especially in terms of like music that I've listened to over the years, and the music I've been part of writing. That was just something so genuinely different that I think everybody should get to enjoy.
Yeah, our baby for the whole EP process has been "Follow Me," which I know it's like a 6-minute song with a little scratchy guitar intro. So I'm hoping that with the full release of it, that people take the time to sit with that one, because that one is a lot of fun to play and it was a lot of fun to write. But I also know that it's it's something that's probably going to have to grow just because of its, intricacies and structure and things like that. But it was a fun one to do. So I think that would be my pick, is Follow Me.
I'm. Phew. I think I'm going to go with Shame, honestly, because I think that was a really fun process where, we're writing a lot of these loud, fuzzy songs, and then Sean shows up and is like, "What if I play this really slow, clean tone?" And it's fun to actually kind of pull back a little bit and try something different. And I'm really happy with where it turned out.
That
Absolutely.
one was awesome in terms of the writing process too, because I remember us like really sitting down and like figuring it out.
Yeah, we were forced to a little bit because we had already booked some of our initial sessions for drums and things like that, and we had the main outline of Shame. All the other ones had been played time and time again. Shame we hadn't even played live yet, and it was like, this has to be on the EP because we were so excited about it, and it's always fun bringing in a new song to the set, to rehearsal, but. Yeah, really just having to lock that one down on a timeline and really put all of our creative heads together. We couldn't just let it sit around and figure it out when we figured it out. It had a crunch time.
So with Shame being like pretty much the newest of this batch of songs, what's like the oldest one that's on here?
Oh, Detroit
For
by
sure.
Yeah,
That was written before the band was formed.
Okay, wow.
Yeah, Detroit is actually one of the last hangover from those swimming lessons brutalism writing sessions. And it's the only one that's stayed in our live set as well. But we always knew that whatever project it ended up on, it had to be the closer to something. And we just really wanted it to close this out because it felt thematic. Even if it's not stylistically as in tone with what we're going to start moving towards. Certainly lyrically, what we're looking at with Red 40, it was kind of in line with the ending that we wanted to pull off.
I think it bridges the gap between the two kind of eras pretty well.
Yeah.
I'd say.
Did it change drastically from like that original version when it was kind of in that swimming brutalism houseplants era, or to compare to like this Red 40 era?
I don't think it's changed too drastically, but maybe just in terms of us all getting more comfortable and like letting our own personal stylings come through in the song has made it feel a lot different. But I think like if you were to write the notes down, it would look pretty similar.
Yeah, I would say the biggest change was that lineup rotation where Trevor wrote the original drum parts. Those got passed to Jacob, so Jacob put his own taste on it. Trevor got moved over to guitar, so changed some of the guitar parts, but the structure, the lyrics, all of that has remained the same. So it's really, again, just that kind of like democratic writing style of like, we're open to whatever ideas you have to bring to it. It wasn't, written down anywhere that it had to be this way. It was just working within the constraints of what we liked about the song and what was open to be changed about the song.
Like you said, that does do really well on bridging the two gaps of the eras. So that'd be really, really nice in that aspect. Now, since we kind of talked about it earlier about how, you guys are switching around and having to make this work for live sets. Now I'm curious, can you guys play this front to back in the way that you guys have it out because of this? Or is the live sets a little bit switched around?
It's close, isn't it?
I think
It's
there's one
close.
switch, and it's mostly for tuning on the guitars because a lot of our songs are like tuned down to C sharp, and then we go back up into standard. So we're like, rather than spend 10 minutes tuning on stage, we'll just flip these two songs.
Yeah, we get to open with The View and close with Detroit, which I think are the mainstays of how we wanted the EP to be framed. But then within the middle, just because of who plays guitar on what and Trevor said, the tunings, it's had to be flipped around just a little. We would love to do it top to bottom. If we had the money for a bunch of different guitars and different tunings and things like that, we could pull it off. But for now, it's just about tuning as quickly as we can and filling in the spaces as we change spots.
Yeah, tuning makes sense. I just didn't know if it was like, oh, okay, we're going to do The View first, and then we have to quickly switch around to go into the next song and stuff like that. But obviously, you guys know what you're doing, so it's not like I was gonna get you with a gotcha. Like, no, we didn't. Think
No,
about
we
that.
we know now, but it's certainly taken some testing, especially in the rehearsal space when we first realized that we were going to have to make these switches with the new songs and things like that. So it's been a lot of timing ourselves and seeing that we can still fit into that half-hour slot that we usually get and all that.
And finding creative ways to like fill the time, like, play a drum beat, make some weird noises on the bass until
Yeah.
everybody's giving you the, hey, we good? We done?
Yeah.
And we have the fun new challenge of now that I'm adding some backing vocals, we're like, okay, now where are the mics placed? Because I stand everywhere on stage. Keeps us sharp, keeps us honest.
So Red 40. I obviously when people think Red 40, I think we think a lot of the chemicals and stuff that are like in our food and stuff like that. Is there a reason you guys named this EP Red 40?
We were sitting around a rehearsal space. I think it was like the whole practice was just shooting off names that we
Yelling
could
them,
use. And we said Red 40 and we sat with it for a moment and it just felt good, frankly. I don't think there's a crazy story behind it.
No, I think it does roll off the tongue nicely. We were very adamant that we didn't want, because it's only a 6-song EP, we didn't want it to be named. We didn't want there to be a title track. And we weren't finding anything within the lyrics that really worked as a good title. And, with all music coming out right now, it's a reflection of what's going on. And we felt that was, some kind of tenuous connection to that. So it felt like it fit and also was a good framing device for what the EP was going to sound like, what it was going to look like, what it was going to feel like.
I think this is for people listening, I think this is the one Red 40 that it's okay to consume. I'll put
We
it
appreciate
that
the
way.
endorsement. That's going on
Yeah.
all the CDs.
Yeah, we're going to have to print stickers with that.
Need new
The
stickers.
Red 40, the safe one.
Because like you said, it does roll off the tongue pretty well. Like when I saw it, I was like, oh damn, that's sick. And then like it's just quick, right to the point. Obviously, when I think of 40, I always think of 40-ounce beers. Just because I'm degenerate a little bit, drinking 40s all the time. But yeah, it's just like real quick right off the bat. But then it was kind of funny because like obviously your EP is named Red 40. There's a comedian that I follow. I think he named his upcoming tour like the Red 40 tour.
Oh, yeah?
So it was a weird day where like everything was just reminding me of this EP and like like I was like seeing signs everywhere. I'm like, okay, there's something going on.
We'll piggyback off their marketing.
Yeah, we swear we didn't pay for all of that.
But yeah, it like solid EP and solid name. Like I said,
Thank you.
because it would be. I feel like there's probably a couple things you probably could have done if you wanted to do a title track. I think obviously just because it's like I said, one of my top songs. They've Got Your Gun would have been a pretty good one. Also, oh no, I haven't seen the cover art. Never mind. Because then I'm also like thinking of the cover art and like what would work with that too. Like if it didn't say Red 40, but like
Yeah, luckily we
it all
got to
works.
hire a great graphic designer for the art, and we did that once we had everything in place, so they were able to work with what it already was. Our other rule was that because it was titled Red 40, there couldn't be any red in the album art because we didn't want it to be like too on the nose with it. So the green and blue album art titled Red 40, not a title track, not a lyric. We're just making SEO hard on ourselves. And the comma in the name.
Yeah, that's been a challenge.
I feel that because I remember my friends that I used to TM for, like their band name was Exit Comma Emergency, and every flyer people would forget the comma or anytime they would talk about it. So it was just kind of like you have to subtly be like, hey man, you just got to put the comma in, and like obviously with comma is important for people like
Yep.
that are out there. Like
It's how
don't
it's
miss it.
phrased. Yeah, and I'm fighting with all the streaming services right now to get metadata updates before the EP comes out. So that's been our big project to get everything in line before the drop. So fingers crossed. But yeah, that's been a struggle.
Does that like band like name come from somewhere specific? Because I feel like it's very like unique in its own aspect.
It was a suggestion from a former member that had ties to the phrase. And again, it's us like sitting around a room throwing stuff out. We're like, no. And they said that we're like, absolutely, yeah. And
Thematic, worked well with what we were doing, felt like the direction we wanted to go in.
it's just that comma.
That comma.
Yeah.
You live and you learn.
I know we kind of hinted at earlier. You guys are doing this nice little Midwest run, starting right after the EP drops, and then a couple dates later in April. Would this be the first set of first actual run of the band?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we've only done local shows up until this point in Chicago. We had toured a pretty solid amount with the band in high school, so we've been itching to get back out on the road. But obviously now that we're all mostly full-time employed, got to find the slots for them and figure out what makes sense. And we've really been wanting to get a little more into the DIY scene, both here and in different states. So the college scene is great. I mean, Trevor did most of the work to put this all together, so I'll let you talk about it a little bit.
I mean, it was nice. Mostly just like as you're meeting more people, playing more shows, meeting people in these towns. They're like, oh, I live in Madison. We have mutual friends, or oh, I've heard of this band through this band. So that makes it a lot easier when we were planning it to reach out and be like, hey, can we play or can we help? Like, can we make something happen? And I feel like we got very lucky. We've got a lot of really cool bands we're playing with. Frankly, more dates than we were expecting. But when it all falls into place, then you just let it ride.
Yeah, and we're even starting to talk with other bands now that are looking to come to Chicago, and that's just part of like that reciprocal relationship that gets built here. That's really great about tour, and what I miss about it most is just meeting all these bands from different scenes. From we're playing with there's a night where we've got, I think it starts with an acoustic act, and then there's like a heavy metal, like almost death metal act in the same bill, and it's like just meeting all these interesting bands from interesting places and getting to bring them to your city and go to their city and meet cool people, and yeah, just building those relationships.
Yeah. That's something I also miss from the days that I used to tour a little bit. Like it's cool because like the first kind of runs that you do, you meet all these people, your bands become friends with each other, and then the next time you try to plan something out, you're like, oh, we need to stop here, maybe play a different venue, but like we still need to go see the homies and just have a good time.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's something that I definitely miss. I mean, I think most of the bands that we played with were pre-COVID previously, so a lot of them have gone away, but hopefully starting that up again with this run and continuing to play out of state, and things like, we just see bands that we admire so much and they're just doing these DIY tours just absolutely constantly.
And it's fun too, like with how much is going on in Chicago, going out and seeing a show and seeing what Ben mentioned Smush from Brooklyn. It's like, okay, now we got to see what's going on in Brooklyn. Or there's a band I love that I've seen a couple times here called Zastava from Detroit. And it's like, okay, what does Detroit have going on? Like, we have to get up there. So again, it's just fun to like go out and meet new people and just constantly be inspired to keep doing more and doing better.
Not to single out any specific city or make anyone feel bad, but on this upcoming run, is there like one spot that you're most excited to hit?
Oh boy.
You've got all the details. I'm just along for the ride. I'm excited to just be on the road in the RAV4 with the boys.
There's a band in Madison, Wisconsin that have been really good. We share a good mutual friend, and we've hung out a few times, and we've been talking about playing together for I think a couple years now. And I'm just super excited to finally go. I love the city of Madison. Play with them. Worms for Sale is their name, but the other bands on that bill are incredibly sick as well. So I think Madison's going to be a real hoot.
Yeah. Oh, I'd say Stella Drone's one of the bands that we're already starting to work on a Chicago show with them. So that's been a fun relationship to try and, work with each other in each other's cities. But yeah, there's some really great bands in all the cities with a very diverse range of genres, which is, another fun aspect of the DIY spots.
Yeah. Which is really cool because like I feel like, I mean, it's been a while since I toured. Probably the last tour I was on is maybe 2016. But I feel like at that point, we didn't have as many, even though they were like DIY shows, you didn't see as many like mixed bills. We were also like a pop punk band. So there's always some sort of oversaturation with pop punk. But like, I don't feel like we encountered that many mixed bills, which would have been a lot more fun. Nothing against the bands that we ever saw, but like having those opportunities to kind of have just like a weird bill and just like kind of see the whole different sides of that scene that you're kind of stepping foot in is always really fun.
Yeah.
We
In
play a lot of
Urbana,
mixed bills nowadays. Like, I feel like that recently we've been playing with like a lot of blues bands and just
Yeah.
alternative or indie type stuff, and it's fun. You get to see a lot of concerts and shows of things you'd never see before.
Yeah, our Valentine's Day show was what it was like indie acoustic to start, and then it was like Grateful Dead, like hippie rock.
Yeah,
And then it
yeah.
was like a
grungy,
punk band,
heavy
grunge
stuff,
rock.
yeah.
Athena, who was actually we share a rehearsal space with, and us, which is like us and Athena were probably the closest. But it was just a interesting night, and people stuck around for most of the whole thing. And it was just awesome to see that everyone was vibing with the whole night, just going with whatever happened next.
in Urbana Champaign, we're playing with this artist 4Beat, who's an experimental drum set player, and I'm very. I don't think we've played with someone like that before, so super fun.
Yeah, and it'll all end up getting mixed in with things that we think about for the next songs and things like that, which is awesome.
Hell yeah. And then, like I mentioned earlier, you guys are playing in my old stomping grounds of Iowa City. I think my friends in Early Girl are on that show.
Yeah.
I haven't been to that venue. I think it was called like the Frat House.
Yes.
Yeah.
But hopefully it's.
Oh, yeah, that's with Stelladrone as well.
But,
Did you
yeah.
live there or go to school there?
So I grew up right outside of Iowa City, in like a small like little farm town. But Iowa City was like the next biggest town. So if we wanted to go see shows or anything, that's where we would go.
Nice. I went to college at University of Iowa, so that's our connection. Why we always want to go through whenever we're traveling.
Yeah.
Oh hell yeah, yeah. I loved Iowa City because obviously we'd have this influx of kids that comes in and like always would form a band and do cool things. But the one thing that always sucked because it was a college town is, they graduate and then they have to move away, move back home, and it's just like, man, that band was so sick. I would have loved to keep seeing them, and then they're like, oh, well, we put up maybe an EP, we're done. It's like, oh,
And on the
man.
flip side, we played Gabe's in the summer when nobody was there.
Yeah.
And there was nobody at that show, which was so funny, which is such a cool venue. It was a great stage to play, but we went through because Trevor was at college there, and it was like, well, we'll get these college people. It was like, the college people aren't here.
Yeah, Gabe's iconic venue, probably one of my favorite ones in the world. Like that, like everyone has their own version of Gabe's in their own town, and like that
Oh,
one's
yeah.
that one's mine.
We always said that the night always ended at Gabe's. That's where whenever you went out, we ended at Gabe's.
Okay, hell yeah.
Yeah, we also played Yacht Club. Great venue. They put us on a bill with a band called Native Howl, which was what their genre they describe as thrash grass. So, like, drummer is doing heavy double kick pedal, and these huge guys with long beards, I think they're from Detroit, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, are just slamming these acoustic guitars, like playing.
Shredding on the banjo
Yeah.
and stopping on a dime and singing in perfect four-part harmony. It was insane.
If there's nothing like it, if you haven't listened to Native Howl thrash grass, it's incredible.
Dude, it's wild.
And to see it in like the basement yacht club venue was just nuts.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember we played a show at Yacht Club, and it's just the only weird thing about the Yacht Club stage is there's that one pipe just like in like the
Oh,
weirdest
yeah.
fucking spot. And obviously you guys have a 4-piece. I think the band I was running church merch for was like a 5-piece. So like one
At the
guy
time, we
just-
were a 5-piece.
Okay, so like did you guys have that one person that like unfortunately kind of got stuck right behind it? Oh
for
man.
sure.
Yeah, I think it was you because he was at the time he was on keys in the old band, so we had this whole keys setup that had to be like pushed to the weird edge of the stage. And then the night before we had played a place in Milwaukee called the Up and Under, I think. I don't think it exists anymore, but it was the smallest stage we had ever seen, and we didn't have the foresight to put one of us on the floor or anything like that, so we just.
I think I scratched the wall.
Yeah,
I think I was
Trevor was
facing
like
the wall.
facing the back corner where you would load onto the stage. So he had to go on last. But things you live and you learn from when you're 18, 19 going on your first tour
Yeah,
that you
fingers-
only play to your parents.
Fingers crossed for all these college basements that they have more space and less
Right.
weird poles.
I wouldn't count on it.
The weird poles are fine. We're a 4-piece. We'll be fine.
Yeah, yeah. No, like that's one other cool thing about like Iowa City is like there's always been a good house show scene. I don't know how it was, what years you were going to school there, but like I felt like there was always at least 3 to 4 house shows. But like if you didn't know where they were, like you heard about them, but you never got to go to them because like house shows you got to keep secret to a certain extent to just be able to keep doing shows. But like there was always at least 3 to 4 solid ones going at the same time.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
I think I definitely wasn't as like connected into the DIY scene until later in my college career when unfortunately everything got shut down. So I'm like, oh great. Love hearing about all these places that aren't here anymore.
You only heard about people reminiscing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had like a similar experience. I went to Iowa State my freshman year of college, and I wasn't active in like the DIY scene at that time, and it was kind of funny because a couple years later, the band I was with, we toured through and played a show. There was like a really sick like house venue, literally a block off campus, like literally 2 blocks away from the dorm I used to live in. And I was like, if I would have known, like I could have been experiencing all of this already, and then just kind of missed out on it.
It happens. I know. Well,
Yeah.
that's trying to get booked right now in the DIY scene in Chicago. It's just like, yeah, like you said, because they're trying to keep it so secretive. It's like, who's the contact for this venue? It's like we really want to get in and do those because it's so fun to play in those venues. The energy there is so different. But you know, they don't list their emails in the contact always like a venue does.
Yeah, that'd be wild. Granted, I think I've talked about it on the show. Like there used to be like an online, almost like DIY directory. I don't know if you guys used it when you guys were touring, but like there was a spot where you could, I think it was like DIY. I can't remember the name of it, but you could go there, pick like a city that you were trying to tour to, and it would kind of list like all like the bands in that area and like kind of contacts that you could hit up for DIY shows.
I wish I would have known about that. No, I hadn't heard of that, but that is exactly what we need right now.
Yeah. I've heard some horror stories though of like local Chicago DIY spots. Like somebody listed it on Google Maps and also then people start doing Google reviews of it and it's like, hey, calm
You're
down.
blowing up the spot, dude.
It's kind of funny that you mentioned that because like the house I moved into when I moved to Minneapolis was like a older. They used to do a lot of house shows, probably more like 10 years ago, and then the last half of us that lived in the house, we didn't really do house shows, but it was funny because like it was on Google Maps, Apple Maps, and everything. You could search the house and find it, and when we all moved out, we're like, we don't know how to take it down, and two, hopefully, like I haven't checked lately to see if it's still up, but like we only rented, so like if the landlord didn't know that it was online either like that, so like it's kind of funny that like if people just randomly start showing up.
I can imagine that landlord like going to list it after you left and being like, wait, that's not,
Yeah.
I didn't name this house.
Apartment/venue. Just trying to get a little more retail value out of it.
Yeah. Speaking of some of these venues in Chicago, I'm always interested in Chicago. I don't visit enough, but if I am say coming through and there's obviously a slew of shows going on any given night, but what are some like ideal venues to kind of hit up to go catch a show?
There's one great answer, but we should all pick different ones. But we all know the one.
Who wants to go first?
Well, I'll take the one. The one's the Empty Bottle. I think that's for sure the spot to go. It's a place where you, like you were saying earlier, where you could see these incredible acts that will just blow your mind. But it's free on a Monday, and it's a bar, and I don't know. They just cook or book cool acts.
Yeah, the way that it's set up, it's a small venue, but they're able to attract based on reputation just the coolest bands in the scene. But I'll go with Beat Kitchen because it's a slightly larger venue. It was where we did our single release show for swimming lessons. And it's a beautiful stage. They have a sound engineer that's absolutely incredible. So going to the show is fantastic. Being a performer at the show is fantastic. We really enjoy anytime we get to play Beat Kitchen.
Sounds great in there.
And I'll add one more. This might be a sleeper pick, but I'm going to go with Cole's Bar. Cole's is awesome. It's a lot smaller of a bar, I guess both in size and reputation, but it's fun because it's in a great neighborhood surrounded by a lot of other great places to go out at night. And you'll just pop in and be like, oh, wait, there's a show with four of the sickest bands in Chicago playing, and shows always start late. They start at like 9 or 9:30. So you have plenty of time, and the energy there is just phenomenal.
I thought you were gonna pick up the slack here and pick Shubas, where our EP release is, and how we're very ecstatic to play there. We've never played Shubas. We
Yeah.
are genuinely very excited, but we're not marketing people either, so we just
Yes.
spoke from the heart. But Shubas is incredible. We're very excited to play. We've all seen shows there, but haven't played yet, so it's gonna be awesome.
So four really strong picks of varying sizes.
Yeah, I think it's cool because like I feel like every time I talk to a Chicago band, I kind of hear different answers. Obviously, the only one that I've ever been to that you guys listed was Beat Kitchen, but it's cool to hear of all these different spots that are kind of popping up. Do you guys is Chicago like one of those spots where like you see have there been a decent amount of venues that have been shutting down and then kind of popping up lately? Because I feel like since COVID in the Twin Cities, we've lost probably 3 or 4 venues, but we've had probably 6 pop up in their place.
Oh wow! I would say there was a wave of shutdowns.
Double Door shut down.
Elbow Room.
Congress Theater's been shut down for a while.
It's coming back though.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and I think Double Door they're trying to bring back too. So I feel like we saw a handful close,
And
and
you got like the Ramova popping up.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's probably a little slower than that, but I mean, just with the weight of the scene here, there's always something going on. So I'm sure that there's people with things in the works, and the DIY scene here is great. There's a new venue called Lowdown that's been putting on show, basically opened this year, if not end of last year, that's had a show like every, multiple shows a weekend for every weekend already. So it's really great to see something like that where the scene is just so invested in propping up these cool venues that are working to promote them.
yeah, taking it into their own hands.
Yeah, I mean that's what you kind of want. Like one of the cool venues that kind of popped up. I've only been there once, but they're more like a DIY spot. A few of the ones that popped up have been DIY, but this one's really cool. Like they it's I think during the day kind of like a kind of quote unquote like music academy from what I've kind of read. But then they put on like some really killer shows, like in the evening. Their old spot was really cool. I never got the chance to go to it, but it almost looked like from pictures like an old school like gym that you would kind of see like on like at movies and stuff. And like the
What's
new
the
spots.
venue? We had done a lot of research on tour of different venues, so I'm just curious.
Yeah, it's called Flying V here in Minneapolis.
Nice. That's awesome.
Yeah,
I think we've played Minneapolis one time,
Yes.
and we played the Garage.
Oh, okay. Yep. Iconic spot. Actually, they actually shut down last year. Unfortunately. First, like I said, great spot. Only downfall, it's like on the south side of the city, so like kind of getting there kind of sucks. So, but there are other good venues in the more central Minneapolis area that we can always talk about at some point
Yeah.
too, and get you guys back.
We didn't feel exactly in the city when we played there. I will say we also, I think because of the scheduling, we got paired with like a School of Rock show date at that time. So that was odd. They were great, but it wasn't what we were used to. Day like 4 or 5 of the tour, but playing with some School of Rock guys. But it was fun. It's a good venue.
Yeah.
And we definitely want to get back out to that city. With this new tour, we were like, okay, we're branching out. Let's not go too far. Like, let's go reasonable
Save on
drives.
gas money right now.
Yeah, fair. Because like that, I feel like that's the other thing that kind of sucks between like Minneapolis and Chicago is we're 6, almost 7 hours apart, depending on how many people you have in the vehicle. So like, so we're like kind of far to play a show and then kind of hit somewhere else. So like it's that one weird like trickiness. But when you guys get here, it'll definitely be worth it.
I think,
Hell yeah.
next run. Let's just do it. Let's lock it in.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're committed.
Yeah.
You heard it here first.
But hopping back into obviously your EP release show at Shuba's, you're playing with some great bands on that. Like, why did you want them to kind of be a part of the moment to kind of celebrate with you guys?
So
Awesome.
Yeah.
yeah, just
Really
incredible.
good.
Sean and I live with a member of the Courts who is one of the bands playing that show with us, and we've seen their shows so many times. We've known them for a long time, and we were just thrilled that they were like down to play with us.
And Corgan from that band actually did the guitar production on the EP. They've got a little studio out in the suburbs, a nice little isolated spot where we're able to go and crank the guitars up and make them sound real nice. So we got to do that with him as well.
So they were definitely one of our first thoughts when we were like, big show, we're at Shuba's, it's the EP release, let's ask the boys.
And then This House is Creaking has been on our list for a really long time. And we really enjoyed them. At our single release show, we had played with a member of that band that was also in a band. That's great. But we also just got to see them live for the first time at that show I mentioned earlier with Dondry. Insane live set. We have to tighten up because they're really great. And then Sick Day we've played with before. They're fantastic. They opened that Valentine's Day show that I had mentioned earlier. So just all good friends, great bands.
Again, just seeing people and being like, we need to play with them. Just that feeling in your gut where you're like, we have to be on stage with these people. That's awesome.
I almost want to watch that show more than I want to play it. I'm a fan.
Which is, I think that's always our goal when we're booking shows too. Is like, what's something that I would want to go to really badly.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I think that's a great way to put it. Is like, as much like it's also great to hang out with your homies and like do a show, but it's also like, man, I would pay to go see this, but it's like great because I don't have to pay to actually get in because obviously you're playing. But like, yeah, to book a show that is in that regard in your own mind, like I think it's always a great time.
Yeah, we're very privileged that our good friends are also good musicians. We don't have to fake about anything there.
One thing I wanted to bring up, obviously, if people have checked out your Instagram, there's a photo in there on one of the album release post of one of you holding up a sticky note that says "needs to sound better." Probably saw this coming. I know there's some comments on there that are like, I hope it does sound better, like in a good joking way.
Yeah.
For people that have been fans of and IU, what are some? I feel yeah. We're not gonna kind of jump into. I'm making sure I didn't word this question already when I asked that other question on songs. But like, what are things that they should be able to? Shit, it's gonna come out it's gonna feel the same, and I'm gonna feel so bad for that for you guys. But just
We'll work around it.
yeah, we'll
Just gotta
figure it
rip
out.
it off.
But for them tuning into it, what is the one thing that you feel like really sets this EP apart compared to before in the terms of it does sound better, we have grown, this is who we are
Yeah.
now?
I think the one word I would boil it down to is deliberate. We were really deliberate about the writing process, about, we were okay taking a song off the set that needed reworking, like where a section wasn't working, it wasn't vibing with the crowd, or when we heard it in videos, we didn't feel like we were getting to what we wanted to get to. We were deliberate about our process of recording. We really took our time. We recorded drums 1 month, and then we sat on it. We recorded bass. We sat on it. We recorded guitar, sat on it. We took the time to do vocal layering and things like that versus you just kind of jumping into it and doing it all in a weekend. We worked closely with our producer, our recording engineer as well, Max Grazier at Exit Slip Recording, who is just phenomenal. And he was so open to all the feedback. And he even added elements to things and elevated things. You mentioned They've Got Your Gun. A lot of those big echoey aspects of it and the delays and things like that were all his ideas and things he added as a producer just to elevate it. So he was on a lot of songs, kind of a fifth member in that way. So yeah, just the taking the time to really make it what it should be, and sitting with it, I would say is going to be very evident throughout the course of listening to the EP.
Yeah, I can't say it much better than that.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, that's spot on.
Hell yeah. Well, like I said, it's a solid EP. I'm really stoked for everyone to check it out when they finally get to. Before we start to transition, I want to make sure. I know these episodes tend to jump around a decent amount. Obviously, if people have checked it out, I just want to make sure I didn't miss anything when it comes to either Red 40 or And IU that you want the people to know about.
I feel like we've been hitting a lot.
Yeah, I'm
feel
just
good about
happy to
it.
have a conversation. I'm just having a good time here.
Hell yeah. Well, like I said, people listen to Red 40. We'll talk links here in a little bit. As we start to transition, this is obviously Beers with Bands. You don't have to be drinking on these episodes because I'll definitely do that for you. But I know the three of you have some beverages in front of you on this fine Monday evening. What are you all drinking tonight?
Trevor can go for the two of us.
We got a Gumball Head from Three Floyds, wonderful, I believe, Chicago local brewing company.
So
Hell
I
yeah.
can confirm that.
And then I got the Revolution West Coast Hero from a Chicago local brewery. It's a double IPA.
Yeah, for as many different types of bands there are in Chicago, there's also that many breweries.
Yes.
There's a couple merging right now, though, so there's going to be some less ones.
Yeah.
Mm.
And what are you
If-
drinking?
Yeah, so I started my pre-show beer was a good old Modelo because can't go wrong.
Classic.
And then this is one of those smaller breweries. I don't know if you guys have heard of them, but they're called Pabst Blue Ribbon.
Crap.
Is that local to Minneapolis?
It's not that far. It's just in Milwaukee. I think is how you pronounce it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
yeah. Are the breweries that you guys drinking normally like the quote unquote like And IU's like go-to brewery?
Well, in terms of for band representation, we love an old style.
We have
do
been
love
trying to
Old
get
Style.
Old Style to sponsor us for ages. We post on our Instagram all the time, tagging them. They always repost us, but they haven't reached out yet.
Yeah, checks
It's
been
gonna
getting lost
happen.
in the mail.
Yeah.
One of these days.
Bit of a hack. They will repost you if you post yourself with an Old Style.
I think they're specifically interested in us. I think you're being generous.
Yes, you're right. It's specifically us. We're sponsored.
Yeah,
They're big fans.
they're big fans.
I mean, I got to give you props because like I've tagged PBR and Hams I think a few different times. I've never gotten reposted, so obviously you guys are doing something right. If Old Style's reposting you,
Something. And hey, if Old Style's listening right now, we will exclusively drink Old Style on stage if we can make this connection.
I will put the label out where everybody can see it, like it's a sitcom. I promise.
Put it on the bass drum.
Yeah,
yeah,
Old Style
there you
bass strip. That if they just let us use the logo, that would go hard.
Yeah, why not?
If it'll pay for gas money between all these cities in April, we are more than happy.
We did try and get an alcohol sponsorship for our what would have been our third tour if COVID didn't happen from an Iowa brewery or distillery.
Distillery. I forget their name. I don't know if they're
Blue.
more.
I guess should I say it?
I don't know. Probably not. No, because they didn't.
No, they never
so
sponsored
no.
us. But we had emailed a representative and gotten a response. We thought we might be going down a road, but that never panned out.
Live to see another day.
yeah. So obviously Old Style's the band's beer. That's a mouthful. If you had an opportunity to partner with the local brewery to create, and I use signature line of a brew. What are some nodes that we could get? Like, what are some things that might be similar to if people are trying to get
I
involved
think
in?
this is your wheelhouse.
Oh boy, yeah, that's tough.
I mean, I'm like maybe a hazy.
I love a hazy IPA, but that
Yeah.
may not be for everybody. Some people don't like to.
Well, we're
have
not for everybody,
loaf of
you know?
bread with their
We're refined.
as a drink.
Ah,
Yeah, I guess something because we always bring like a weird eclectic bunch of beers to rehearsal sometimes.
mhm.
I feel like those always end up being like a light beer or an IPA. So if there's a light IPA out there, that might be And IU.
Maybe some landing somewhere in the golden ale realm of things.
We're actually going to innovate on beer science to create the anti-U beer.
Or maybe we're talking about a session IPA, full flavor, low ABV.
Yeah, all
Yeah.
day IPAs, they say.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Well, I'll be on the lookout. If this happens, you got to send me at least a 4-pack.
Happy to.
You know,
Oh yeah.
because there was a while there where like a decent amount of like local breweries were hitting up or like partnering with like local bands to do stuff. I know some homies back home have done. They got lucky. They did 2 different beer runs, and then they partnered with their local distillery and did a cherry vodka, like an apple pie, basically.
Yeah. A great band from Chicago called Stuck, whose guitarist actually is the one that did our album art, is putting out a signature beer for their upcoming album release. So definitely check out Stuck Optimizer, I believe April 24th. But yeah, great album art. You'll recognize it if you've seen Red 40's album art because it's the same artist, but he also did the art for the beer can because it looks fantastic. So that's very cool.
Making sure that I got all my beer questions out.
Of course.
I feel like I'm going to ignore this question because I feel like I've probably used it too much, especially talking to Chicago bands with the Malort. So we're just going to move past Malort. It's a thing, Chicago.
You'd have to get in
by night.
Nick from the courts on Malort there, who lives.
Big fan.
Yeah, big fan.
Yeah. Yeah. I used to bring up the Chicago handshake, go into all that, but
I mean,
you guys get it. You guys know what's up.
you got to
Get it, and I don't need it.
Yeah, if you haven't done it, you got to come here and do it, and then you're good for life.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. It
Unless
made
you
its
like
way. Yeah. My barbers love Malort. They're like they talk about like the hints of stuff that you get into it, and like I got my haircut. The last time I got my haircut, I was there. They're like, "Hey, we're gonna do a shot of Malort. You want one?" I'm like, "Nah, man. Like, I'm just here to get a haircut. Like, I'm good. I'll just drink this Miller Lite." Yeah.
The bandmate that named the band is also a big fan of Malort, and they couldn't convince us. So I think that's where we stand.
I always hear hints of grapefruit, but I feel hints of gasoline, so I usually pass.
Gasoline,
Exactly.
always.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you. Finally, hell yeah. Put that on the sticker.
It's a long sticker.
Besides beer and Malort and all that fun stuff in Chicago likes to do with their handshakes and World Series and baseball and basketball and all that fun stuff. Red 40, I think, is going to be another solid thing coming out of Chicago for people listening.
Thank you.
Like I said, it's a solid album, and I'm really stoked for everyone to listen to it. I'm happy. I want to be stoked when it's not on a Google Drive and easier to listen to on streaming.
I felt bad sending it to you that way.
You're totally fine. I get a lot of stuff that way, so I just download it and just do my thing. But there's people that send it to me on SoundCloud, and I'm like, I get it. I don't want it on SoundCloud. But it's also kind of funny from my point of view as to like the different ways that people will send stuff to me because I'll get Google Drives, SoundCloud links. Sampling's been a new one that a lot of people have been using lately. So it's always interesting how like people find their like what they use and how they decide to use it. I'll accept whatever link you send me. I'm fine with it. So no worries with it. Yeah. I know we talked kind of tours and all that fun stuff. So I kind of got like 2 questions, and we'll kind of do them back to back. One's more kind of like a bigger looking forward question. So just kind of get that rolling a little bit. But looking forward to the future of IU, what are you guys most like anticipating, or like what are you guys hoping for going forward? Like what can people expect?
I think just writing more, playing more shows. That's really our 2 goals. I think when we sit down and talk about what we want to do, we're like, we want to be getting out there more. We want to meet more people. And as we've said a few times, we've been playing these songs for over a year now. We're starting to get back in that like demoing, sending each other voice memos, and we're super excited once all of the logistical work of releasing an EP and booking a tour is done to kind of hunker back down and be like, okay, what's next? And then show that to people.
Yeah, I think everything for us, no matter what, is exponential growth. So when we started, we were doing a show about every other month. Now we're aiming for about 2 shows a month, putting out music on a more regular basis. I mean, we have probably 9 quarter to half finished demos floating around. Some of those may not end up being songs, but we've got a lot of ideas and it's going to be exciting because, like Trevor said, we've been playing these for about a year now to start to switch up the set again, test things out, see where we want to go. I don't think that there's anything that sounds 100% like anything on Red 40 that's floating around. Maybe it will by the time it's in its finished state, but it's always about seeing where things go, playing different cities, taking everything that we've been doing and just continuing to ramp it up
Yeah, I think you just keep going. That's the best way to describe it.
and just
Like,
continue
keep
to be
writing,
excited.
keep playing, keep enjoying it.
And yeah, as we're getting inspired by other artists and other things we see too, I think it's super fun to be like, we don't have to pigeonhole ourselves. The next thing shouldn't sound like Red 40 because that's out already. We're just throwing out ideas like let's do a metal song. Let's get crazy with something. Let's, just bounce around, see what we're feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, every release is a chapter in your guys' in the band's life. You don't want to read the same chapter twice. Nothing against bands that do that. Obviously, we all love Story So Far, and most of the first few records are all kind of cohesive. Really long chapter. But I'm stoked to kind of see what the next iteration of And IU looks like from these other influences, or how you grow from here. Because obviously, like we've said, like these songs have been in the repertoire for over a year, and now they're seeing the light of day. So like obviously, the next stuff is we're at a different point in your guys' lives. It's going to be different, maybe not drastically, maybe it will be drastically, but we're going to be along for the ride to kind of check it out.
Well, thank you. Yeah, we're very excited to see where it goes too. I mean, like I said, those demos are no marker of what it's going to end up sounding like at the end. And while we can say that things are interesting now, it'll be interesting. It'll be more interesting to see where they end up as a cohesive next chapter.
Just because I have to poke a little fun, we're not going to have to wait a year and a half, 2 years for the next release, are we?
It's the hope.
That's the goal. That's what we said last time.
And then we ended up spending about 5 months on the recording process itself. So,
I think we've figured out
yeah.
some kinks in the process that will be ironed out next time.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Well, definitely looking forward to that.
Thank you.
I like to leave off these episodes on a high note, not to say that we're not already having a good time already. So my final question to you is, from your guys' time in And IU, what has been your favorite moment that you've gotten to experience so far?
Wow. Dang.
Yeah, I mean, I know it's been a long time. I really loved the single release for Swimming Lessons. It really felt like we were all coming together for putting something out, and I love that moment of combining the live music with the release and getting to kind of put that all behind you in a good way of being like, we worked for this moment and it's all coming together. And that's why I love doing the release show the same weekend at least as the release. So I'm even more excited for Shubas and releasing a full EP. I'm sure that'll top it, but I think that moment of just everything coming together is really what drives everything forward for me.
Yeah, I think I'd agree with that. That release show was a lot of fun, making me think or want to look forward to the next one. That's really exciting.
Yeah, I would just add that I love the process. So I feel like if I'm thinking of a favorite thing so far is going back into the studio, hanging out with friends, ironing out details, and then coming out with something that we feel really proud of and we're excited to show everybody.
Yeah. Hell yeah. I mean, all solid answers. Maybe we'll get to hear some other great moments from you guys' time when we go to do another round of this. Maybe when EP2, LP1, who knows where you guys will be at that point.
Yeah, on our 10th tour.
If anyone's looking for merch, music, or And IU in general, where can they find it?
Yeah, we've got a link tree on our Instagram. So the easiest way is to just search us up there, go to the link tree, grab that. Merch right now, we only sell at shows, but we're gonna have some new things available by the EP release that we're excited about. So try to find the city closest to you. And if we don't hit that city, let us know because we'd love to come out to wherever you want to see us. We love moving around.
And the Instagram is and.i_u because we want to make it impossible to search. So the comma wasn't enough. We mixed it up. And.i underscore
They don't let you
u.
do that. I would have done the comma if they let you do the comma.
Yeah.
That's fair. Instagram just pulling shitty moves like that. It's crazy.
Yeah.
But depending on where you found this episode, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Threads, Blue Sky, or you watch the YouTube version and got to see their lovely faces like I did tonight, make sure you check the hyperlinks down below. Follow IU on all the socials. Be ready for new music, new tour dates, new merch, and all that fun stuff. Dudes, well, and that's a big thank you to the three of you for taking the time out of your Monday to sit down with me and talk about your band.
Yeah,
Thank you
so
for
much.
your wonderful questions. It's been a great conversation. We had a good time.
Yeah, super fun.
Hell yeah, I appreciate that. Everyone, be sure to go follow IU. Be sure to listen to Red 40. Get those numbers up, and be ready for everything coming next. And
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. I'll catch everyone on the next episode. See ya.
Bye.
Beers with Bill.